settlement
to bolster evidence-based research, training,
professional
and
support.
awareness.
Government will facilitate
medicine.
professional institutions such as
Animal husbandry. Livestock contributes to close to 16% of farm income, including of poor as the ICAI, ICSI, ICMAI to design short-term modular courses and practical tools to develop a cadre of corporate mitras, especially in tier 2 and veterinary professional towns. By more than 20,000.
These accredited
I propose to roll out a loan
will help
MSMEs
meet
compliance
for
requirements
establishment
at
of veterinary and para-veterinary
infrastructure. Veterinary
During this
hospitals,
past decade, our government has undertaken several initiatives
breeding
for
facilities and
large-scale
private
enhancement of public
collaboration
infrastructure,
between Indian and
including
foreign
through
institutions will
new
also be
financing
facilitated.
instruments such as Infrastructure
Orange
Investment
economy,
Trust, in which
India's
and
animation,
real estate
visual
investment
effects,
trust,
gaming
rights,
and comics sector,
and
ABGC
institutions like
sector is a growing industry
and NAB
projected to require 2
we shall
million
continue to
professionals
focus
by
on developing
2030.
infrastructure in cities with over 5 lakh population, that is tier 2, tier 3 cities,
to support the Indian Institute of Creative Technologies, Mumbai, in setting up ABGC
Public capital expenditure
Creator Labs
has increased manifold
15,000
from 2 lakh
secondary
crore in
schools all over the country
2014-15
and
to an
500
allocation of
colleges.
11.2 lakh crore in BE 25.
The Indian design industry is
in this
expanding
coming
rapidly,
year,
and yet
that
there
is
is a shortage of
financial year
Indian designers.
2026-27, I propose to
through
increase it to
Challenge Group,
12.2
a
lakh
new
crores
National Institute of
to
Design
continue the momentum,
to boost design education and development
to strengthen the
in
confidence
the
of
eastern
private
region
developers
of India regarding risks during
infrastructure
education.
development.
Our government will
construction
support
phase
states. I
through
propose to set up
Challenge an infrastructure
in
risk
creating
guarantee
5
fund
university
to provide
townships
prudentially
in the
calibrated
vicinity of
partial credit guarantee to lenders.
over the years. Rights
Major
have emerged as a
industrial
successful
and
instrument for
logistics
monetization. I propose to accelerate recycling of significant real estate assets of the CPSEs through the setting up
These
of
planned
academic zones.
rights
Will host multiple
to promote
universities,
environmentally
colleges,
sustainable
and
movement
research
of
institutions,
cargo. I
skill
propose
centers,
to
and residential
one,
complexes.
establish new
In
dedicated
higher
freight
education,
corridors,
STEM
connecting
institutions
prolong
prolong
the
the
hours
hours
in
of
the
study
east to
and
Surat in the
collaborative
west.
and laboratory work.
Operationalize
pose
20
some
new
challenges
national
for girl
waterways
students over the next 5
through
years. VGF, viability gap funding and capital,
starting with
or
national
capital
waterways
support.
5
One
in
girls'
Orissa
hostel
to connect
will be
mineral-rich
established
areas
in
of
every
Talcher
district
and Angul, and industrial centers like Kalinga Nagar to the ports of Paradip and Dhamra. Training institutes will be set up as regional centers of
promote
excellence
astrophysics
for
and
development
astronomy.
of required manpower
Via
for these waterways.
via immersive
This will
experiences.
benefit youth in the
4
entire stretch of the
telescope
waterways
infrastructure
to train and
facilities
acquire
will be set up
skills.
or upgraded.
Further,
the
a
National
ship
Large
repair
Solar
ecosystem
Telescope,
catering to
National
inland
Large
waterways
Optical Infrared
will also
Telescope,
be set up.
the Himalayan
Chandra
Varanasi and
Telescope
Patna,
and the Cosmos 2
and
planetarium.
launch a coastal cargo promotion
Tourism
scheme.
The
For
tourism sector has
incentivizing
the potential to
modal
play a
shift
large role
from
in the
rail to
employment
road
generation,
to increase the
forex
share of inland
earnings,
waterways
and expanding the
coastal
local
shipping
economy.
from
I propose to
6%
set up
to
a
12%
National
by
Institute of
2047 by upgrading the existing National Council
to enhance
for
last
hotel
mile
management
and remote
and catering
connectivity
technology
and promote tourism.
I propose to give
incentives to
as a bridge between
indigenize
academia,
manufacturing
industry,
of sea
and
planes.
government. A seaplane,
I also
VGF
propose
scheme,
a
will
pilot
be also
scheme
introduced
for upskilling
provide support
10,000
for
guides
operations
in 20 iconic tourist sites
carbon capture
through utilization and
standardized,
storage.
high quality,
Aligning with the roadmap
12-week
launched in December
training course
2025
in hybrid
the carbon
mode,
capturing
in collaboration with
carbon capture
with the
utilization and
Indian
storage
Institute of
technologies
Management.
at scale a
will
national destination,
achieve higher readiness,
digital knowledge grid,
and an
will be
end-use
established
application
to digitally
across
document
5
all places
industrial
of significance,
sectors, including power,
cultural,
steel,
spiritual,
cement,
and
refineries,
heritage.
and
This
chemicals.
initiative will
An
create
outlay of 20,000
a
crore
new
is proposed over the next 5 years
ecosystem
for
of
this
jobs
purpose.
for local researchers,
City
historians,
economic
content
regions.
creators,
Cities
and
are
technology
India's
partners.
engines of growth.
India
Innovation
has the
and
potential
opportunities.
and
We
opportunity
should
to
now
offer
focus on Tier 2, Tier
world-class
3 cities,
trekking
and
even
hiking
temple
experience,
towns,
which need modern infrastructure and
we will
basic
develop
amenities.
ecologically
This budget
sustainable
aims to further
mountain
amplify
trails
the potential
in
of
Himachal
cities to
Pradesh,
deliver the economic
Uttarakhand,
power of
and Jammu
agglomerations
Kashmir.
by mapping city economic regions also
Based
based on
Araku
their
Valley in the
specific
Eastern
growth
Ghats
drivers,
and Podigai
an
Malai
allocation
in
of
the Western
5,000 crore
Ghats.
per CER over 5 years
Turtle
is
trails
proposed along
for
key
implementing
nesting
their
sites
plans
in the
through a
coastal
challenge
areas
mode
of
Odisha,
with the reform
Karnataka and
based
Kerala.
financing
And
mechanism.
3, bird watching trails
In
along
order to
the
promote
Pulicat Lake
environmentally
in
sustainable
Andhra
passenger
Pradesh, Tamil Nadu,
systems, we will develop
on the
7 high-speed rail corridors
under the visionary
between
leadership
cities.
of Honorable Prime Minister
As growth
we established the international Big
namely
Cat
Alliance
Mumbai
in
to
2024, Pune to Hyderabad.
This year,
Hyderabad to
India
Bengaluru,
is hosting
Hyderabad
the first
to
ever
Chennai,
global Big Cat
Chennai
Summit,
to Bengaluru,
where
Delhi to Varanasi,
heads of governments
Varanasi to
and
Siliguri.
ministers from 95 range countries will deliberate on collective strategies for conservation. Heritage and culture tourism.
Financial
I propose
sector.
to develop 15
The Indian
archaeological
banking sector
sites,
today is
including
characterized
local,
by strong balance
Dholavira,
sheet,
Rakhi
historic
Gadi,
highs in
Adichanallur,
profitability, improved asset quality,
Hastinapur,
and
and
coverage
Leh
exceeding
Palace into
98%
vibrant
experiential
of villages
cultural
in the country.
destinations.
At this juncture,
We are well placed to futuristically
excavated
evaluate the
landscapes
measures
will
needed to
be
continue
open to the
on the
public
path
through
of
curated
reform-led growth
walkways.
of this sector.
Immersive storytelling
I
skills
propose setting up
and
a high-level
technologies will be
committee
introduced
on banking
to
for
help
Vikasit
conservation labs,
Bharat,
interpretation
high-level
centers
committee
and
on
guides.
banking for Vikasit Bharat.
To
To comprehensively
sector
review the
provides
sector
multiple means of employment
and
skilling
align
and
it
job
with
opportunities.
India's next phase of growth, taking forward the
While
systematic
safeguarding
nurturing of
financial
financial
stability,
stability which is set in motion
inclusion,
through the Kelo
and
India
consumer
program
protection.
earlier.
The
vision for
propose to
NBFCs
launch
for
a
Vikasit
Khelo
Bharat
India mission
has been
to
outlined with
transform
clear
the sports
targets
sector
for
over
credit
the next
disbursement
decade.
and technology adoption.
The
In order to
mission will
achieve scale
facilitate
and improve
a-
efficiency
an
in the
integrated
public
talent
sector
development
NBFCs,
pathways supporting
as a first step,
supported by
it is
training
proposed
centers
to
which are
restructure
foundational,
the
intermediate,
power finance
and elite
corporations
levels.
and rural
B.
electrification
Systematic development
corporation.
of coaches and support staff. C.
I propose
Integration
a
of sports
comprehensive
science and
review
technology.
of the foreign
D.
exchange management,
competitions and leagues
non-debt
to promote
instruments
sports culture
rules,
and provide
to create
platforms.
a more
And
contemporary
E,
user-friendly
development of sports
framework
infrastructure
for foreign
for training
investments
and competition.
consistent with India's evolving
Our third
economic
Kartavya
priorities.
aligns with our vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka
Corporate
Vikas
bond
towards
market.
Vikasit Bharat. This requires
I
targeted
propose to
efforts
introduce
for one,
a market-making
increasing farmer
framework
incomes
with suitable
through
access to
productivity
funds
enhancement
and
and
derivatives
derivatives,
on
with special
corporate bond
attention
indices.
to small
I
and
also
marginal
propose
farmers.
to introduce total
B,
return
empowering
swaps
Divyangjan
on
through
corporate
access
bonds.
to livelihood opportunities,
Municipal
training,
bonds.
and high
To
quality
encourage the
assistive
issuance of
devices.
municipal bonds
C,
of higher
empowering the
value
vulnerable
by
to
larger
access
cities,
mental
I
health and
propose an
trauma
incentive
care.
of 100
D,
crore
focus
rupees
on the Purvodaya
for a
states
single
and the
bond
northeast region
issuance.
to accelerate development and employment opportunities.
100 crore rupees for
Fisheries.
a single bond
We will
issuance
undertake initiatives
of more
for
than
integrated
1,000
development
crore.
of 500
the current scheme
reservoirs
under Amrit and Amrit Sarovars.
2. Strengthen the fisheries value chain in coastal
The current
areas
scheme under
and
Amrit,
enable market
which
linkages
incentivizes
involving
issuances
startups and
up to
women-led
200
groups
crores
together
only,
with fish
will also
farmer
continue to
producer
support
organizations.
smaller and medium towns.
Animal husbandry
That will also
to provide
continue
quality
to
employment
support the smaller and
opportunities in
medium
rural
towns.
and peri-urban
Ease
areas.
of doing business.
We will support the animal
Individual
husbandry
persons
sector
resident
in
outside
entrepreneurship
India,
development
PROI,
through will be permitted to invest in equity instruments of listed Indian modernization of livestock through the portfolio investment scheme. C. Enhanced creation of livestock, it is also proposed and poultry to increase the investment limit for an individual PROI under the scheme from 5% enhanced creation of livestock, dairy and poultry investment integrated value chains for all and individual encourage creation of livestock farmer producer organizations from the current 10%. High value agriculture, emerging technologies including AI outputs, increase 21st centuries enhance farmers' incomes, and create new employment opportunities for the benefit of all support people. High-value farmers in the field, as coconut, women in STEM, sandalwood, youth keen to upskill, cashew, and in the coastal areas, newer opportunities. Other trees, the government has taken several steps, nuts such as to support new technologies and pine AI mission national quantum mission. These all of them will be supported. National India Research is the world's Fund, largest producer of research and development, about 30 Innovation Fund, including nearly 10 million farmers, is to fulfill aspirations and build capacities. To further enhance competitiveness in crore individuals, have come out of multi-dimensional poverty to increase production and enhance sustained and reform various interventions, including replacing and non-productive trees with new saplings or plants has therefore decided to place in major coconut growing a renewed emphasis on the service sector. A dedicated program to fulfilling aspirations for Indian cashew and India with the following measures. India self-reliant in raw cashew. I propose to set up a high-powered and processing education to enhance export competitive prices and standing committee Indian to recommend measures Indian cocoa that focus on services sector premium global as a core driver of Viksit Bharat. Sandalwood is closely linked to India's social and global leader in services. Our government will partner with global share by 2047 to promote focused cultivation. The committee will prioritize to restore the glory of the Indian potential for growth, ecosystem, employment, to rejuvenate old. They will also assess the impact of emerging technologies and expand high-density cultivation of walnuts, jobs and skill requirements and pine nuts. We will support a dedicated program to enhance farmer incomes a range and in bringing value addition skilled by engaging youth. Career pathways, a new range of skilled career pathways for our youth, that is a virtually integrated system to access agricultural resources. Existing institutions for allied health professionals will be upgraded that shall integrate the agri institutions established in the private and government sectors. This will cover agricultural 10 selected disciplines, systems, including this will enhance radiology, anesthesia, enable better decision technology, and reduce risk psychology and behavioral health, providing customized advisory support. AHP over the next rural women-led enterprises. A strong building on the success of luck covering geriatric and allied care services will be built. Take the next step from credit-linked livelihoods to programs, owners of enterprises to train multi-skilled caregivers, entrepreneurs, combining core care, marts and allied setups such as wellness, yoga, and operation of medical within the cluster-level federations to enhance and innovative financing instruments. Caregivers will be trained, empowering Divyangjan. Divyangjan Kaushal Yojana. Hubs information technology, tourism, AVGC sectors to promote India as a hub for medical and food and beverages sectors. I propose to launch a scheme to support state-oriented, establishing process-driven 5 regional which are suitable for Divyangjan. We will ensure the private dignified livelihood opportunities. These hubs will serve as industry-relevant and customized trainings that combine medical, each educational and research facilities. They will have Ayush centers, medical timely access to high-quality assistive devices and infrastructure for diagnostic Divyangjan is a fundamental rehabilitation. I propose these hubs will provide diverse opportunities, job opportunities, manufacturing corporations of India, including doctors and to set up and to scale up production production of assistive
Ancient
devices,
Indian yoga,
invest in R&D,
already
and
respected
AI
in
in
several
several
parts of the
strengthened
world,
PM
was given a mass global recognition
and
when Honorable Prime Minister took it to the
setting up
UN.
of assistive technology
Post-COVID,
marks as
Ayurveda
modern
gained
gained
a similar global
retail
acceptance
style centers
and recognition.
where Divyangjan and senior
Exporting
citizens
quality
can
Ayurveda
see,
products,
try, and
helps
purchase
farmers who grow the
assistive
herbs,
products, and youth who process the
reaffirming
products
our
to
commitment
meet
to
growing
mental health
global
and
demand.
trauma.
A few more
Trauma
steps are
care.
being taken.
There
I
are no
propose
national
to,
institutes for mental
set
health
up
care
3
in
new
North India.
All India institutes
We will therefore
of
set up
Ayurveda.
NIMHANS 2
and also upgrade national mental health
Ayush
institutes and drug testing and in phase for higher standards
regional
of certification
institutions
and make available
more skilled personnel.
emergencies.
Upgrade
Expose
the
families,
WHO Global Traditional
particularly
Medicine
the poor
Center
and
in
vulnerable,
Jamnagar
to
to
unexpected
evidence-based
expenditure.
research,
We will
training,
strengthen
and
and
awareness
increase
for
these
traditional
capacities
medicine.
by 50% in district hospitals by establishing
Animal
emergency
husbandry.
and trauma care centers.
Livestock contributes to close to 16% of farm
Focus on
income,
Purvodaya
including of
states
poor
and
marginal
northeastern
households.
regions. To scale up
I
availability
propose
of
the
veterinary
development of an integrated
professionals
East Coast
by more
industrial
than 20,000
corridor
with a
I propose
well-connected
to roll
road
out a
and
loan-linked
Durgapur,
capital subsidy
creation
support
of
scheme
5 tourism
for
destinations
establishment of veterinary
in 5
and
Purvodaya
para-veterinary
states
colleges
and the provision
veterinary
of
hospitals,
4,000
e-buses,
diagnostic laboratories
and
Buddhist
breeding
sites in
facilities and
northeastern
private
region.
sector.
The
Collaboration
northeastern
between
region is
Indian
a
and foreign
civilizational
institutions will
confluence
also be
of
facilitated.
Theravada and Mahayana or
Orange
Vajrayana
economy.
traditions. I
India's
propose to
animation,
launch a scheme
visual
for
effects,
development of
gaming
Buddhist
and
circuits
comics sector,
in Arunachal
ABGC
Pradesh,
sector,
Sikkim,
is a growing industry
Assam,
projected
Manipur,
to require
Mizoram,
2
and
million
Tripura.
professionals by 2030.
The scheme will cover preservation of temples
I
and
propose
monasteries,
support
pilgrimage
I
interpretation
propose to
centers,
support the Indian
connectivity
Institute of
and
Creative
program
Technologies,
pilgrim
Mumbai,
amenities in setting up ABGC 16th
Content
Finance
Creator
Commission.
Labs. In
On 17th
15,000
November
secondary
2025,
schools all over the country,
the 16th
and
Finance Commission
500
submitted its
colleges.
report to the President. As mandated under Article
Indian
281
design
of the
industry
Constitution,
is expanding
the government is to
rapidly,
lay
and yet
the report
there is a
along with the
shortage of Indian
explanatory
designers.
memorandum
I propose
on
to
the
establish,
taken
through
report
challenge
on the
route,
recommendations
a
of the
new
Commission
National
in Parliament
Institute of
with
Design,
Honorable
to
Speaker,
boost
you
design
allowed me to do at
education
the commencement of the
and
session.
development.
The government
in
has
the
accepted
eastern
the
region of
recommendation
India.
of the Commission to retain the vertical share of
Education.
devolution at 41%.
Our government will support states through challenge route
As
in
recommended
creating
by the Commission,
5 university
I have provided
townships in the vicinity
1.4
of
lakh
major
crores
industrial
rupees
and
to the
logistics
states for the year
corridors.
2026-2027.
These planned academic
As
zones
Finance Commission
will
grants.
host multiple
These
universities,
include
colleges,
rural
and research
and
institutions,
urban local body
skill
and
centers,
disaster
and
management
residential
grants.
complexes. In higher education,
fiscal
STEM
consolidation.
institutions,
Government has
prolonged
been
hours of
delivering on
study
our fiscal
and
commitments
and
consistently
laboratory
without
work
compromising
pose some
on
challenges
social
for girl
needs.
students.
To strive
Through
towards
VGF,
accepted
viability
standards of
gap
fiscal
funding and
management
capital,
in budget
or
25-26,
capital support,
I had indicated
one
that
girl
the central
hostel
government would target
will be
reaching a
established
debt to GDP
in
ratio
every district
of 50 plus or minus 1% by 2030-31. In line with this, the debt to GDP ratio is estimated to be 55.6% of
promote
GDP
astrophysics
in
and
BE
astronomy
26-27,
compared to
via
56.1% of
experiences.
GDP
in
for
RE
telescope
25-26
infrastructure facilities.
will be set up
A declining
or
debt
upgraded.
to GDP
The
ratio
national
will
large solar
gradually free up
telescope,
resources
the national
for priority
large
sector
optical
lending and
infrared
expenditure
telescope by
the
reducing
Himalayan
the outgo
Chandra telescope
on interest payments.
and the Cosmos 2
One of the main
planetarium.
operational instruments for debt targeting
Tourism.
is the fiscal
The tourism
deficit.
sector
I'm
has the
happy
potential
inform
to
this
play
August
a
House
large role
that
in the
I
employment
fulfilled my
generation,
commitment
forex
made in
earnings,
2021
and expanding the
2022
local economy.
to
I
reduce
propose to set up
fiscal
a
deficit
national
below
institute of
4.5% of GDP by
upgrading the existing National
25-26
Council for Hotel Management
in
and
RE
Catering
25-26. the fiscal deficit has been estimated. It will function as a bridge between academia, industry, and 25-26 at 4.4% of GDP. A pilot scheme for upskilling 10,000 guides new in 20 iconic tourist sites through the fiscal deficit in B26-27 training course is estimated to be 4.3% in collaboration with the Indian Institute of Management. A national destination digital knowledge grid. The revised estimates established to digitally document the non-debt receipts of 34 lakh crore rupees, of which the centre's net spiritual net tax receipts are 26.7 lakh crore. Will create the revised estimate of the total expenditure is 49.6 lakh crore rupees, for local researchers, historians, is about 11 lakh and technology partners. India has the potential and opportunity to offer 2026 world-class 2027 trekking and hiking coming experience. To 26-27, the non-debt receipts and the total expenditure are estimated sustainable as 36.5 lakh crore and 53.5 lakh crore respectively. Uttarakhand, the centre's net tax receipts are estimated at 28.7 lakh crore rupees. Arakku Valley in the eastern Ghats, the fiscal and deficit, the net in the western Ghats from dated securities are estimated at 11.7 lakh crore rupees. Along key nesting financing in the coastal areas to come from small savings and other sources. The gross market borrowings watching trails are estimated at 17.2 lakh crore rupees. It's on the border. Move to Part B. Under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, we established the International Big Cat Alliance in 2024. This year, India is hosting the first ever global I now present my proposals on direct taxes, heads new income tax act, and ministers from 95 in July 2024 will deliberate. I announced a comprehensive review of the Income Tax Act for 1961. This was completed in record time, and the Income Tax Act 2025 will come into effect from 1st April 2026. Dolavira, Rakhi Gadi, the simplified income tax rules and forms will be notified shortly, and Leh Palace, giving adequate time to taxpayers to acquaint themselves cultural destination requirements. The forms have been redesigned such that landscapes will be open to the public through curated walkways. Ease of living. Immersive storytelling skills. Any interest awarded by technologies will be introduced to help conservation natural interpretation will be exempt from income tax. And any TDS on this account provides multiple means of employment, skilling and job opportunities. I propose to reduce TCS taking forward the systematic nurturing of sports talent programs set in motion through from the Khelo India program earlier and 20%. I propose to launch without any stipulation of amount to transform the sports sector over the next decade. I propose to reduce TCS rate for pursuing education and for medical purposes and integrated talent liberalized remittance supporting popularly known as training centers, which are foundational, intermediate and elite levels. B. Systematic development of services and support to be specifically brought within the ambit integration of sports science and technology for the purpose of competitions and leagues to promote sports culture and TDS on these services will be at the rate of development of sports infrastructure for training and competition. I propose a scheme for small taxpayers wherein a rule-based and automated process will enable obtaining a lower or nil deduction certificate, increasing farmer income, filing an application productivity with the assessing entrepreneurship. With for the ease of taxpayer to small and marginal farmers in multiple companies, empowering I propose to enable depositories to livelihood opportunities, training and high quality assistive devices from the investor and empowering the vulnerable to various relevant mental health and trauma care. I propose to extend time available for revising returns and the northeast region to accelerate development and employment opportunities with the payment of a nominal fee. Fisheries. I also
We will
propose to
undertake
stagger
initiatives
the
for integrated
timeline
development
for
of
filing
500
tax
reservoirs.
Individuals
And
with
Amrit
ITR 1
2
and ITR 2
strengthen the
returns
fisheries value
will continue
chain
to
in
file
coastal areas
till 31st
and enable
July,
market
and
linkages
non-audit
involving
business
startups
cases
and
or
women-led
trusts
groups
are
together
proposed
with
to be
fish
allowed time
farmer
till
producer
31st
organizations.
August.
Animal
TDS on
husbandry.
sale of immovable
To provide
property
quality employment
by a
opportunities in
non-resident is
rural
proposed
and
to be
peri-urban
deducted
areas,
and deposited
we will support
through
through
resident
resident
buyers
sectors in
and his,
entrepreneurship
her, or
development
PAN-based
through
challan
A,
instead of
credit-linked
requiring a
subsidy
PAN,
program,
which is a temporary
B, scaling up and
accounting number.
modernization of livestock enterprises, C,
To
enhanced
address
creation of
practical issues
livestock,
of small
dairy,
taxpayers
and
like poultry,
students, young professionals, tech employees, relocated NRIs,
encourage
and such others.
I propose to introduce a
enhanced
one-time
creation of livestock,
6-month
dairy,
foreign
and
poultry
asset-focused
disclosure
integrated value
scheme
chains
for these
and
taxpayers
D, encourage
to
creation of
disclose
livestock
income
farmer
or
producer
assets below a
organizations.
certain size.
High-value
This scheme
agriculture
would be applicable for two categories
to
of
diversify
taxpayers,
farm
namely
outputs.
A,
Increase
who did not
productivity,
disclose their
enhance
overseas
farmers'
incomes
or
and
assets,
create new
and
employment
B,
opportunities,
who
we
disclose
will
their
support
overseas
high-value
income
crops
such as
and
coconut,
paid
sandalwood,
due tax but
cocoa,
could not declare
cashew,
the asset acquired.
in the
For
coastal
category
areas.
A, the limit of
Other
undisclosed
trees
income
in
or
northeast
asset
is
and
proposed
nuts
to be
such
up
as
to 1
almonds,
crore rupees.
walnuts,
They
and
need
pine
to
nuts,
pay in our
30%
hilly
of fair
regions.
market value of
These
asset,
all of them
or
will be
30% of
supported.
undisclosed
India is
income
the world's
as
largest
tax,
producer of
and
coconuts.
30% as
About
additional
30 million
income tax
people,
in lieu
including
of
nearly
penalty
10 million
and would
farmers,
thereby get immunity
depend on
from
coconuts for their
prosecution.
livelihood. To
For
further
category
enhance
B,
competitiveness
asset
in
value is
coconut
proposed to be
production,
up to
I
5
propose
crore
a
rupees.
coconut promotion
Here,
scheme
immunity
to increase
from both
production
penalty
and
enhanced
prosecution
productivity
will be available
through various
with the payment of
interventions
fee
including
of 1 lakh rupees. Rationalizing
replacing
penalty and prosecution.
non-productive trees.
Multiplicity
New
of
saplings
proceedings
or plants
are
or
hindrance to the
varieties
ease of doing
in
business.
major
I
coconut
propose to
growing
integrate
states.
assessment and penalty proceedings by way of a
dedicated
common order
program
for
is
both.
proposed
There
for
will be no
Indian
interest
cashew
liability on the
and
taxpayer
cocoa on
to
the
make
penalty
amount
India
for the period of
self-reliant
appeal
in raw
before the
cashew
first
and
appellate
coconut
authority,
production and
irrespective
processing
of the
enhance
outcome of
export
appeal process.
competitiveness and
Further,
transform Indian cashew and Indian
quantum of
cocoa
prepayment is being
premium
reduced
into
from
premium global
20%
brands
to
by
10%
2030
and will continue to be calculated
Sandalwood.
only on core tax
Sandalwood
demand.
is closely linked
As
to
an
India's
additional measure
social
for
and
reducing
cultural
litigation,
heritage.
I propose
Our
to
government
allow
will partner with
taxpayers
state governments
to promote focused
to
cultivation
update their
and
returns,
post-harvest
even
processing
after reassessment
to restore the
proceedings
glory of the
have
Indian
been
sandalwood
initiated,
ecosystem
and an additional 10%
to
tax
rejuvenate
rate
old,
over and above the
low
rate
yielding
applicable for the
orchards
relevant year,
and expand
the assessing
high-density
officer
cultivation
will then
of
use
walnuts,
only this updated
almonds,
return
and
in his
pine
proceedings.
nuts. We will
There is
support a
already
dedicated
a framework
framework to enhance
for
farmer
immunity
incomes
from penalty
and in
and
bringing value
prosecution in the
addition
cases of
by engaging
underreporting.
youth.
I propose to apply
Bharat
this framework
Vistar,
for immunity to
that is
misreporting
virtually integrated
However,
system to
in
access
such a case, the
agricultural
taxpayer
resources.
will need to pay 100% of the
propose
tax
to
amount
launch Bharat
as an
Vistar,
additional income
a
tax
multilingual
over
AI tool
over and
that
above
shall
the tax and
integrate the
interest
agri-stack
due.
portals,
Penalties
and the
for certain
ICAR
technical
package,
defaults
such as
on
failure to get
agricultural
account
practices
practices
with
non-furnishing of
systems.
transfer
This will
pricing
enhance
audit
farm
report
productivity
and default
enable
in
better
furnishing
decisions for
statement
farmers
for financial
and reduce
transactions
risk by
are
providing
proposed to be converted into fee.
providing customized advisory support. She Marts for rural women-led enterprises. Building on the
I
success
propose
of
to rationalize
Lakshpati
prosecution
program,
framework under Income
I
Tax
propose
Act
to help women
while maintaining a
take the
careful
next step
balance
from
for deterrence
credit-linked
in some
livelihoods to
serious
being
offence.
owners of enterprises.
Non-production of
Self-help books
entrepreneur
of accounts
and documents
Marts
and
will be
requirements of
set up
TDS payment
as community
where
owned
payment is made in
retail
kind
outlets
are being
within the cluster level
decriminalized.
federations
Through
further,
enhanced and
minor
innovative
offences will
financing
attract fine
instruments.
only. Empowering Divyangjan.
The remaining prosecutions will be
Divyangjan
graded
Kaushal
commensurate with the
Yojana.
quantum of offence.
Information
They will
technology,
entail only simple
ABGC
imprisonment
sectors
with
maximum
maximum imprisonment
hospitality and
reduced
food
to
and
2
beverages
years
sectors
and power to
often
courts
to
offer
convert even
task-oriented
into
and process-driven roles
There is
which
no
are suitable
penalty
for Divyangjan. We will
There's
ensure
no penalty
dignified
presently
livelihood
for
non-disclosure of
industry
non-industry-relevant
relevant
and customized
with
training
aggregate
specific
value
less
to
than 20
each
lakh rupees.
Divyangjan
I
group.
propose to also provide
Divyang
them
Sahara
with immunity
Yojana
from prosecution
timely access
with
to
high-quality
retrospective effects
assistive
from
devices
1/10/2024
for all eligible Divyangjan is a fundamental need. I propose to
Cooperatives.
support the artificial
Deduction is already
limbs
allowed for
manufacturing
primary
corporation
cooperative
of
society
India engaged in supplying milk and to scale up fruits or vegetables
of assistive
devices
by its members.
Invest in R&D
I propose
and
to
AI
extend this
integration.
deduction
Strengthen
to
PM
also include
supply
Divyasha
of cattle
Kendras
feed and cotton
support
seed produced by its
support
members. Setting up of assistive technology
I propose
marts
to allow
as modern
inter-cooperative
retail
society
retail
dividend income
centers
as deduction
where
under the
Divyangjan
new
and
tax
senior
regime
citizens
to the extent
can
it is
see,
further
try,
distributed
and
to its
purchase
members.
assistive products.
I further propose to allow exemption for a period of
our
3
commitment
years
to mental
to
health
dividend
and trauma.
income
Received
Trauma
by a
care.
notified national
There
cooperative
are no
federation
national
on their
institutes for mental
investments
health
made
care
in companies
in
up
North
to
India.
31
We will therefore set up a
2026.
NIMHANS 2
This exemption
and also
would be
upgrade
allowed
national
only
mental
for
health
dividends
institutes
further distributed
in
to
Ranchi
its member
and in
cooperatives as regional apex
supporting IT sector as
India's growth engine. India is a global leader in software
Emergencies
development services,
expose
IT-enabled
families,
services,
particularly
knowledge
the
process
poor and
outsourcing
vulnerable,
services,
to
and
unexpected
contract
R&D
R&D
services.
We will
Relating to
strengthen
software development
and increase
these businesses
these capacities
and their
by
segments
50%
are quite
in
interconnected
district
with each
hospitals.
other.
By
All these
establishing
services are
emergency
proposed to be
and
clubbed
trauma
under
care center, a single category of information technology services
Focus on
with a
Purvodaya
common safe
states
harbor margin and northeastern regions
of
15.5% I propose the development of an integrated East Coast industrial safe harbor for the IT services is being enhanced substantially from 300 crore rupees destinations to 2,005 Purvodaya states, and the provision
Safe
of 4,000
harbor
for IT
e-buses.
services shall be approved by an automated rule-driven
sites
process
in northeastern
without
region.
any need for
The
tax
northeastern
officer
region is
to
a
examine
civilizational
and accept the
conference
application
of Theravada
one supplied
and
by an
Mahayana
IT services
or
company.
Vajrayana
The
traditions.
same safe harbor
I
can be
propose
continued
to
launch a
for a
scheme for
period of
development
5
of
years
Buddhist circuits
at a stretch
in Arunachal
at its
Pradesh,
choice.
Sikkim, Assam,
For
Manipur,
IT services
Mizoram,
companies who want
and
to
conclude
Tripura.
advanced pricing agreement. The scheme will cover preservation of
to
temples
fast-track
and
unilateral
monasteries,
APA process,
pilgrimage
for IT
interpretation
services,
centers,
and endeavor to conclude
connectivity
it
within a
and
period
program
of 2 years.
pilgrim
The period of
amenities.
2 years can be extended by a further period
16th
of 6
Finance
months
Commission.
on taxpayers' request.
On 17th November
I propose to extend the
2025,
facility of
the
modified
16th
returns
Finance Commission
available
submitted
to
its
the
report
entity
to the
entering
President
APA as
through its
mandated under
associated
Article
entities
281 of
also.
the Constitution.
The
The
government
attracting
is to
global
lay
business and
the report
investment, along with the
recognizing the
explanatory
need to
memorandum
enable critical
on the
infrastructure
action
and boost
taken
investment
report on
in
the
data
recommendations
centers.
of the Commission
I
in
propose
Parliament,
provide-
which, sir,
I
Honourable
propose to
Speaker, you've
provide
allowed me to do at the commencement of
tax
this session.
holiday
The
till
government has accepted the
2047 to any
recommendation
foreign
of the
company
Commission
that
to
provides
retain the
cloud
vertical
services
share of
to
devolution at
customers
41%
globally
by using data center services from India.
as recommended
It
by
will,
the
however,
Commission.
need to provide
I have
services to
provided
Indian customers through an
1.4
Indian
lakh
reseller
crores
entity of rupees to the states for the
I
year
also provide-
2026-2027.
I also propose to
As
provide
Finance Commission
a safe
grants.
harbor of 15%
These include
on cost in case
rural
the
and
company
urban
providing
local
data
body
center
and
services
disaster
from India
management
is a
grants.
related entity.
Finance
To
fiscal
harness the
consolidation.
efficiency of
Government
just-in-time
has been
logistics
delivering on our
for
fiscal
electronic
commitments
manufacturing,
consistently
I propose to
without
provide
compromising
safe harbor to
compromising on
non-residents
social needs
for component warehousing
to strive
in a
towards
bonded
accepted
warehouse
standards
at a
of
profit
fiscal
margin
management
of
in budget
2% of the
25-26.
invoice value.
I had indicated that the central government would target reaching a
about
debt to GDP ratio
0.7%
of 50
will be much
plus or
lower
minus 1%
than in
by
competing
2030-31.
In line
To
with
provide
this,
fillip
the
to
debt to GDP
toll
ratio is
manufacturing
estimated
in
to be
India.
55.6%
to provide
of
exemption
GDP
from
in
income tax
BE
for 5 years
26-27,
to any non-precedent
to
who provides capital
56.1% of
goods,
GDP
equipment,
in
or
RE
tooling
25-26.
to any toll manufacturer in a bonded zone.
A declining debt to
To
GDP
encourage
ratio
vast pool of
will
global
gradually
talent
free
to
up
work
resources
in India for a longer
priority
period of
sector
time,
lending
I
and
propose to
expenditure
provide exemption
by
to
reducing
global
the outgo
non-India
on interest
sourced
payments.
income.
One of the main
a
operational
non-resident
instruments for
expert
debt targeting
for a
is the
stay period of 5
fiscal
years
deficit.
under
I'm happy to
notified
inform this
schemes.
August House that I fulfilled my commitment
I propose
made
to provide
in
exemption from
2021-2022 to
alternate tax,
reduce
the
fiscal
MAT,
deficit
to all
below
non-residents
4.5%
who
of
pay
GDP
tax on
presumptive
by
basis.
25-26.
Tax administration.
In RE
I propose to
25-26,
constitute a
the
joint
fiscal
committee of
deficit
Ministry
has
of
been
Corporate
estimated
Affairs and
at
Central
par
Board of
with
Direct
BE
Taxes
of 25-26
for incorporating the requirements of income
2025-26
computation
at 4.4%
and disclosure
of
standards,
GDP.
the ICDS, in the Indian accounting
In line
standards,
with the
Ind
new
AS,
fiscal
Ind
prudence
AS
path
itself of debt
Separate
consolidation.
accounting
The fiscal
requirement based
deficit
on
in BE
ICDS will be done away
26-27
with from the
is
tax year
estimated to be
27-28.
4.3% of the GDP.
To support Prime Minister Modi's vision of homegrown accounting and advisory firms to become global leaders, I propose
revised
to
estimates
rationalize the definition of
the
accountant
non-debt
for
receipts
the purposes
are 34
of
lakh
safe
crore rupees,
harbor
of which the
rules.
centre's net
Other
tax
tax
receipts are
proposals.
26.7
Change in
lakh
taxation
crore.
of buyback
The revised estimate of
brought
the total
into-
expenditure
brought into
is
address
49.6 lakh
the-
crore rupees,
was
of
brought
which
in
the
to
capital
address the
expenditure
improper use of
is
buyback
about
route
11 lakh
by
crore.
promoters. In the interest of minority shareholders,
Budget
I
estimates
propose to tax
2026
buyback for all
to
types of
2027.
shareholders as
Coming
capital
to
gains.
26-27,
However,
the
to
non-debt
dis-
receipts and the total expenditure
disincentivize-
are estimated
However,
as 36.5
to
lakh crore and
disincentivize misuse of
53.5
tax
lakh crore
arbitrage,
respectively.
promoters
The
will pay
centre's
an
net
additional
tax
buyback
receipts
tax.
are
This will make
estimated at
effective
28.7
This will
lakh
make
crore
effective
rupees.
tax
To
22%
finance
for
the
corporate
fiscal
promoters.
deficit, the
For
net
non-corporate
market
promoters,
borrowings
the effective
from
tax will be
dated
30%.
securities are
TCS
estimated at
rate
11.7
for
lakh
sellers of
crore
specific
rupees.
goods,
The
namely
balance financing
alcoholic
is
liquor,
expected to come from
scrap,
small savings
and
and
minerals
other sources.
will be rationalized
The
to
gross
2%,
market borrowings
and that on
are
10
estimated
new
at
leaves
17.2
will be
lakh
reduced
crore
from
rupees.
5% to 2%.
I'll now move to Part B.
I propose to raise
Part
the
B.
STT on futures direct
To
taxes
0.05%
from the present 0.02%. STT on options
Speaker,
premium
sir,
and exercise of options.
I now present my
are
proposals
both proposed to be
on
raised
direct
to
taxes.
0.15%
New Income Tax Act.
from the present rate of
In July 2024,
and
I announced a comprehensive
0.125%
review of the Income Tax Act
respectively.
1961.
We reformed the
This was
taxation
completed in a
landscape
record time, and the Income
for
Tax Act
corporates in
2019
will
by
come into
providing
effect
them
from
a
1st April
simplified regime
2026
with
lower tax rate so that they could productively
The simplified
focus on
income
business
tax
rules
and
rather
forms
than on
will be
claim of
notified
deductions
shortly.
and exemptions.
Giving adequate
To
time to
encourage
taxpayers to
companies
acquaint
to
themselves
shift to the
with
new
its
regime.
requirements.
Set off
The forms have been
of brought
redesigned
forward
such that
MAT credit
ordinary citizens
can
minimum
comply
without
ordinary tax
difficulty.
credit is
Ease of
proposed to
living.
be allowed
I
to
propose
companies
that any interest
only in the
awarded
new
by
regime
the Motor Accident
set
Claims
off using
Tribunal
available MAT
to a
credit
natural
is
person
proposed to be allowed
will be
to an
exempt
extent
from
of
income tax,
1/4
and
of the tax
any
liability
TDS
in the
on
new
this
regime
account
will be done away with. MAT is
I propose
proposed to
to be
reduce
made
TCS rate
final tax.
on the sale of overseas
So there
tour
will be no
program
further
package
credit
from the
accumulation
current 5%
from 1st April
and 20%
2026
to 2% without
in line
any
with this
stipulation
change.
of amount. The rate of final tax is
I
being
propose
reduced
to
to
reduce
14%
TCS
rate from the current
for
MAT
pursuing
rate of
education and for
15%.
medical purposes under the
brought
liberalized
forward MAT
remittance
credit
scheme
of
popularly
taxpayers
known as
accumulated
LRS
till 30th
from
March
March
2026
to 2%
will continue to be available to them.
Supply
for
of
set-off
manpower
as
services is
above.
proposed to be specifically brought
Indirect
within the
taxes.
ambit of payment
I shall
to
now take a
contractors
proposal
for the
related
purpose
to
of
indirect
TDS
taxes.
to
My
avoid
proposals for
ambiguity.
customs and central excise
Thus,
aim
TDS
to
on these
further
services
simplify
will
the
be at the rate
tariff
of either
structure
1%
support domestic
or
manufacturing
2% only.
promote export
I propose a
competitiveness
scheme for
and
small
correct
taxpayers
in duty,
wherein a rule-based automated
to
process
continue weeding out
will enable
continuing
obtaining
customs
a
duty
lower
exemptions.
or nil deduction
I propose
certificate
to remove
instead of
certain
filing an
exemptions
application
on items
with the assessing
which are being
officer
manufactured in
for
India
the ease of
or
taxpayer.
where the
Holding
import
securities
are negligible.
in multiple
Similarly,
companies.
to further
I
simplify
propose to
the
enable
process of
depositories
ascertaining
to accept
the rate
Form
of duty
15G
applicable
or
on a particular
Form
item,
15H
I propose to
from the
incorporate
investor and
certain
provide
effective
directly
rates
to
in
various
various
relevant
customs
companies.
notifications to the tariff schedule
I propose to
itself.
extend time
I shall
available
now
for
take up
revising
sector-specific
returns from
proposals.
31st December to up to
Promotion
31st
of exports
March
of marine,
with the payment
leather,
of a nominal
and textile
fee.
products.
I also propose to increase the limit for
timeline
duty-free
for
filing of tax
of
returns
specified
individuals with
used
ITR
for
1
processing
and
seafoods
ITR 2
for
returns
export
will
from
continue
the
to
current
file
1%
till 31st
to
July
3% of
and
FOB value
non-audit business
of the
cases
previous
or
year's
trusts
export
are proposed to
turnover.
be allowed time till 31st
I also propose to
August.
allow duty-free
TDS
imports
on sale of
specified
immovable
inputs,
property,
which is
by a
currently available
non-resident
for
is proposed to be
exports of leather
deducted and
or
deposited
synthetic footwear
through resident
to exports
buyers
of
and
shoe
his
uppers
or
as
her
well.
PAN-based challan instead of
I propose
requiring
to
a
extend
TAN,
the
which is a
time
temporary
period for export of
accounting
final
number.
product from the existing 6 months to 1
To
year
address practical
for
issues of small
exporters of
taxpayers
leather
like students,
or textile
young
garments,
professionals,
leather
tech
or
employees,
synthetic footwear,
relocated
and
NRIs,
other leather
and such
products.
others. I propose to
Energy
introduce a
transition
one-time
and security.
6-month
I
foreign
propose to
asset
extend the basic
disclosure
customs duty
scheme
exemption
for these
given to
taxpayers
capital goods used
to
for
disclose
manufacturing
income
lithium-ion
or assets
cells for
below a
batteries
certain
to those
size.
used for manufacturing.
This scheme would be
lithium-ion
applicable for
cells
two
for
categories
battery
of
energy
taxpayers,
storage
namely,
systems also.
A,
Who
I
did not
propose to
disclose
exempt
their overseas
basic customs
income
duty
or assets
on
and
import
B,
of
who
sodium
disclosed their
antimonate
overseas
for use in
income
manufacture of
and
solar
or
glass,
paid due tax but could not declare
Nuclear
the asset
power.
acquired. I
For
propose to
category
extend the
A,
existing
the
basic
limit
customs
of
duty
undisclosed income
exemption
or asset is
on
proposed to be
imports of
up to
goods
1
required
crore rupees.
for nuclear power
They need
projects
to pay
till the year
30% of fair market
2035
value of asset
and expanded
or
30%
all
of
nuclear
undisclosed
plants
income
as
irrespective
tax
of their
and
capacity
30%
as additional income tax in lieu
critical
of
minerals
penalty
It
and
is
would thereby
proposed
get
to
immunity
provide
basic
from
customs
prosecution.
duty exemption to the
For
import of
category
capital
B,
goods
asset
required for
value
the
is
processing
proposed
of
to be
critical
up to
minerals
5 crore
in
rupees.
India. Here, immunity from both penalty and prosecution will be available with the payment of fee
value
of
of
1 lakh
biogas
rupees.
while calculating the central
Rationalizing
excise duty
penalty
payable
and prosecution
on biogas blended
multiplicity
CNG
of proceedings are hindrance to the ease of doing business.
Civil and
propose
defense
to
aviation.
integrate assessment
I
and
propose to
penalty
exempt
proceedings
basic customs
by
duty
way
on
of
common
components
order
and parts
for both
required
There
for
will
the
be no
manufacture of
interest liability
civilian
on the
training
taxpayer
and
on the
other
penalty
amount
amount
for the period of appeal.
It is
before
proposed
the first
to
appellate authority
exempt basic
irrespective of
customs
the outcome
duty
of appeal
on raw
process.
materials
imported
Further,
for the manufacture of parts of aircraft
quantum of
to be
prepayment
used
is
in
being
maintenance
reduced from
20% to
or
10%
overall
and will
requirements
continue to be
by
calculated
units in the
only
defense
on
sector.
core tax demand.
Electronics.
As an additional measure
To
for
deepen
reducing
value addition
litigation in the consumer
I propose
electronics
to allow
sector,
taxpayers
I propose to
to
exempt
up to
basic customs duty
to
on
update their
specified
returns
parts used
even
in the
after
manufacture of
reassessment
microwave
proceedings
ovens have been initiated.
Special economic
and an
zone
additional 10%
to
tax
address
rate
the concerns
over and above
arising
the rate
about
applicable
utilization
for the
of
relevant year.
capacity
The assessing
by
officer
manufacturing
will
units
then use
in the
only this
special economic
updated
zones
return in
due to
his
global
proceedings.
trade disruptions.
There is already
I propose
a framework
as a
for
special
immunity
one-time
from
measure
penalty and
to
prosecution in the
facilitate
cases
sales
of
by eligible
underreporting.
the
Immunity to
domestic
misreporting
tariff
area.
at
However, in
concessional
such a
rates.
case, the taxpayer will need to pay 100% of the tax amount as an additional income tax over and above the tax and interest due. Penalties for certain technical defaults, such as failure to get accounts audited, non-furnishing of transfer pricing audit report, and default in furnishing statement for financial transactions are proposed to be converted into fee.
propose to rationalize prosecution framework under Income Tax Act while maintaining a careful balance for deterrence in some serious offence. Non-production of books of account and documents and requirement of TDS payment where payment is made in kind are being decriminalized. Further, minor offences will attract fine only. The remaining prosecutions will be graded commensurate with the quantum of offence. They will entail only simple imprisonment with maximum imprisonment reduced to 2 years and power to courts to convert even those into fines. There is no penalty. There is no penalty presently for non-disclosure of non-immovable foreign assets with aggregate value less than 20 lakh rupees. I propose to also provide them with immunity from prosecution with retrospective effect from 1/10/2024. Cooperatives. Deduction is already allowed to a primary cooperative society engaged in supplying milk, oilseeds, fruits or vegetables raised or grown by its members. I propose to extend this deduction to also include supply of cattle feed and cotton seed produced by its members. I propose to allow inter-cooperative society dividend income as deduction under the new tax regime to the extent it is further distributed to its members. I further propose to allow exemption for a period of 3 years to dividend income received by a notified national cooperative federation on their investments made in companies up to 31/1/2026. This exemption would be allowed only for dividends further distributed to its member cooperatives. Supporting IT sector as India's growth engine. India is a global leader in software development services, IT-enabled services, knowledge process outsourcing services, and contract R&D services relating to software development. These businesses and their segments are quite interconnected with each other. All these services are proposed to be clubbed under a single category of information technology services with a common safe harbor margin of 15.5% applicable to all. The threshold for availing safe harbor for IT services is being enhanced substantially from 300 crore rupees to 2,000 crore rupees. Safe harbor for IT services shall be approved by an automated rule-driven process without any need for tax officer to examine and accept the application. Once applied by an IT services company, the same safe harbor can be continued for a period of 5 years at a stretch at its choice. For IT services companies who want to conclude advanced pricing agreement, APA, I propose to fast-track unilateral APA process for IT services and endeavor to conclude it within a period of 2 years. The period of 2 years can be extended by a further period of 6 months on taxpayers' request. I propose to extend the facility of modified returns available to the entity entering APA to its associated entities also. Attracting global business and investment. Recognizing the need to enable critical infrastructure and boost investment in data centers, I propose to provide tax holiday till 2047 to any foreign company that provides cloud services to customers globally by using data center services from India. It will, however, need to provide services to Indian customers through an Indian reseller entity. I also propose to provide a safe harbor of 15% on cost in case the company providing data center services from India is a related entity harness the efficiency of just-in-time logistics for electronic manufacturing, I propose to provide safe harbor to non-residents for component warehousing in a bonded warehouse at a profit margin of 2% of the invoice value. The resultant tax of about 0.7% will be much lower than in competing jurisdictions. To provide fillip to toll manufacturing in India, I propose to provide exemption from income tax for 5 years to any non-resident who provides capital goods, equipment, or tooling to any toll manufacturer in a bonded zone. To encourage vast pool of global talent to work in India for a longer period of time, I propose to provide exemption to global, non-India sourced income of a non-resident expert for a stay period of 5 years under notified schemes. I propose to provide exemption from minimum alternate tax, the MAT, to all non-residents who pay tax on presumptive basis. Tax administration. I propose to constitute a joint committee of Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Central Board of Direct Taxes for incorporating the requirements of income computation and disclosure standards, the ICDS, in the Indian Accounting Standards, IND AS itself. Separate accounting requirement based on ICDS will be done away with from the tax year 27-28. To support Prime Minister Modi's vision of homegrown accounting and advisory firms to become global leaders, I propose to rationalize the definition of accountant for the purposes of safe harbor rules. Other tax proposals. Change in taxation of buyback was brought in to address the improper use of buyback route by promoters. In the interest of minority shareholders, I propose to tax buyback for all types of shareholders as capital gains. However, to disincentivize misuse of tax arbitrage, promoters will pay an additional buyback tax. This will make effective tax 22% for corporate promoters. For non-corporate promoters, the effective tax will be 30%. TCS rate for sellers of specific goods, namely alcoholic liquor, scrap, and minerals, will be rationalized to 2%, and that on tendu leaves will be reduced from 5% to 2%. I propose to raise the STT on futures to 0.05% from the present 0.02%. STT on options premium and exercise of options are both proposed to be raised to 0.15% from the present rate of 0.1% and 0.125% respectively. We reformed the taxation landscape for corporates in 2019 by providing them a simplified regime with lower tax rate so that they could productively focus on business rather than on claim of deductions and exemptions. To encourage companies to shift to the new regime, set off of brought forward MAT credit, minimum alternate tax credit, is proposed to be allowed to companies only in the new regime. Set off using available MAT credit is proposed to be allowed to an extent of 1/4 of the tax liability in the new regime. MAT is proposed to be made final tax, so there will be no further credit accumulation from 1st April 2026. In line with this change, the rate of final tax is being reduced to 14% from the current MAT rate of 15%. The brought forward VAT credit of taxpayers accumulated till 30th March 2026 will continue to be available to them for set-off as above. Indirect taxes. I shall now take up proposals related to indirect taxes. My proposals for customs and central excise aim to further simplify the tariff structure, support domestic manufacturing, promote export competitiveness, and correct inversion in duty. To continue weeding out long-continuing customs duty exemptions, I propose to remove certain exemptions on items which are being manufactured in India or where the imports are negligible. Similarly, to further simplify the process of ascertaining the rate of duty applicable on a particular item, I propose to incorporate certain effective rates in various customs notifications to the tariff schedule itself. I shall now take up sector-specific proposals. Promotion of exports of marine, leather, and textile products. I propose to increase the limit for duty-free imports of specified inputs used for processing seafoods for export from the current 1% to 3% of FOB value of the previous year's export turnover. I also propose to allow duty-free imports of specified inputs, which is currently available for exports of leather or synthetic footwear, to exports of shoe uppers as well. I propose to extend the time